Welcome to the Mushroom Cult Grain Series. Today we're going to review the no-soak method for hydrating grain. We're going to talk about the pros, cons, and look at the process and the results. So the pros are that it saves quite a bit of time because you're just loading the jars with grain and water. You use fewer tools, and it's really easy to teach someone else how to do it. The cons are that it's variable depending on your substrate, and it's less consistent hydration, as we'll see. So here I have two jars where I put 3/4 cup or 2/3 cup of water, and I'm adding 1 cup of wheat to each one. I'm putting the lid on loosely. I've taped it with autoclave tape to make sure that it gets sterilized, and I've labeled them to make sure that I know which one's which. I have my pressure cooker preheated with the lid on loosely so that when I put them in, water's already hot and it's ready to go. So I'll close it up. Make sure that you follow your directions on your pressure cooker so that you don't get injured. And I'm going to just put it back on high. So I'm going to pressure cook that for 20 minutes at 15 psi. If you're doing a larger load, you'll probably need to run it longer. And I let it cool all the way down to atmospheric pressure so that it doesn't explode with steam. But it's quite hot, so I'll have to use a mitt. And these are our trials. I didn't really make a control, so this is just anecdotal. I'm closing the lid to prevent contamination, and now we're going to look at them. Interesting. We've got, on the left, we have 3/4 cup of water to 1 cup, and on the right we have 2/3 cup. It's a little difficult to see, but on the 3/4 cup you can see that there is quite a bit of free water on the bottom. There's a little bit on the 2/3 cup on the right, but it's much more on the left. You can see that there's a lot of exploded grains in both of them on the bottom third of it. On the right side, on the 2/3 cup, at the top, you can see that the grains are a lot darker. Those are not properly hydrated. It looks pretty good halfway down, but then at the bottom it's mushy and there's free water. On the left, it looks like most of the grains are hydrated properly on the top, but the middle they're looking a little overhydrated, and on the bottom they're getting squishy and they're sitting in water. Now mushrooms are pretty forgiving and they would probably do fine in both of these, but you're risking contamination because you have the free water being able to spread bacteria and contaminants around, and it's also not going to break up as well when you go to try to distribute your grain into other jars or into bulk substrate. So this isn't quite ideal. If I was going to go ahead with using these, I would break them up and mix them so that the dry kernels get mixed into the free water and the mushy ones get kind of mixed in, so hopefully it will kind of even out. This will take quite a bit of trial and error to figure out because each substrate is going to be different, the moisture content that it comes with, and so you're going to have to trial it with each batch that you get. So we get a close-up here of the 3/4 cup where you can kind of see the free water. It's on the bottom and it kind of crawls up the edges. You can see a lot of the grains are exploded. The guts are coming out. On the top, it's a little darker. They're not quite hydrated good enough. This is too much water. And I just got this recipe out of the Mushroom Cultivator book. It's not a set it and forget it kind of recipe. You have to figure it out for your substrate. It's going to differ depending on the grain and the batch, like I just said. On the next one, we're looking at the 2/3, and it's kind of the same story. It's a little bit overhydrated on the bottom and kind of dry on the top with a lot of exploded grains. This is really not ideal. And then we can look at properly hydrated. This is done with the soak, simmer, steep, and dry method that I prefer doing. And you can see there's maybe you can find an exploded grain or two, but in general there's no free water on it. They're all swollen and plump. They look healthy and ready to go. So this is going to give you the best results for trying to break it up, and the mycelium is going to be able to run on it safely. Bacteria is not going to be spreading in here. It's just a much better result. So anyway, thank you for looking at the Mushroom Cult Grain series, join the cult, start a culture. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave your comments below. I would love to hear if you have a different procedure that works better for the no-soak method.